So, as I said, you always take the water off the roof, firstly because it's legally yours, but the other thing is that there's no contaminants in. You might have some leaves or some twigs or something like that, but there's nothing that's too hard to filter out. The water comes down through the gutters. The guttering will be here eventually. Come down. It'll be in this corner here.
Yeah, the corner here.
And then the water comes in through here. At this point, let me just take the lid. Unless has it been locked down?
We'll take the gravel off.
There are nuts in there.
So here we have the filter. So we filter all of the water as it comes in. Once or twice a year, you'd like to have a visual inspection of anything that's in there. But normally it should be all self-cleaning. You're not looking to be, every couple of weeks getting in with your marigolds and giving it a scrub out. So during the winter months, it will always overflow. There's no way you're going to outstrip the water going in. So I said there's not that much that should be coming off the roof, but anything that does will end up on the filter cores and then eventually roll into a overflow area. Then during the winter months, the water level rises and it will wash it out. So once or twice a year, just have a check that you've got nothing, a twig ended up broadside or something like that that's stopping anything going down. But I said nominally self-cleaning with an inspection.
Where is the filter?
This is the filter. There's a filter gauze. I don't know where.
Oh, I see, down there. Okay.
I don't know where the actual.
And did you say that's self-cleaning?
Essentially, okay. I don't know where the actual gauze is, but is it in the? Anyway, the overflow will be going out to a soakaway. So any water that's coming off will just go into the land. Is not going into the drain into the sewers. If you absolutely have to have it going into the into the combined sewers, what we'd recommend is it would be a attenuated tank. So you use the vast majority of the bottom tank for your rainwater harvesting, and leave the top sort of 1,000 litres to slowly go into the drains. So as Clara was saying with the water butts, the same principle, that it slowly lets the water out rather than floods the sewers when it rains. You then have a pump that lives in the bottom of the tank. It's nice to have a submersible pump. That way you don't hear it, but obviously it's also kept very cool, and so they last for years and years and years and years. They're pressure sensitive, so every time you open a tap or you need the water, the pump turns on as if it's as if it is mains. You'd never know that it's not. Now there's two ways to do it. You can either pump the water directly and connect it to your toilets, washing machines, all those kind of things, and every time you flush the toilet, the pump turns on, fills it up, pump turns off, and it works absolutely fine. The more economical way you can do it, which is what we've got here, is having a header tank that lives in the loft space. A regular head tank works on a ball cock, so if you flush a toilet, it'll take an inch of water out and replace it. But then you get the same thing, but pump turning on and off all the time. With our header tanks, or head tanks like this, you drain the whole header tank down and then refill it once a day. That way, when the pump turns on, it turns on and does one big pump, which is much more efficient than turning on and off and on and off. Like if you're going down the motorway, going at 60 miles an hour the entire time rather than 90, then slamming on the brakes 30 and 90. That kind of thing. At that point, it's all gravity fed to everything, and no more electricity is used. We calculate this will use 6 times less electricity per litre than it does on mains water. On the entire cycle on average.
Is that filling the head?
Just
vis-a-vis filling the header tank. What if you just leave it in here, or what's the percentage of difference between the mains water?
So when you say leave it in here,
sorry, we're interested in this. I don't really want a header tank. I don't think I've got the room for it.
Okay, so I mean,
So we would use
you'd
this.
still be around 4 to 5 times better.
Still better. Okay.
Because yes, there's a pump here, but you're only pumping it to there or to wherever your toilet is. Compared to trying to pump the water, water is a surprisingly heavy thing. If you ever try to carry a bucket, you soon work out how dense water is. Trying to move that just around the country takes huge amounts of energy.
What happens when you run out of water?
So you'd always have a mains backup. If you're pumping it direct, if you're having the direct feed system where you have your toilet machine connected to the pump, your water backup goes into here. You can never cross mains water and rainwater because they are, one's potable, safe for drinking, and the rainwater, while it is clean, it's obviously not being tested. It's not something you want to be drinking day to day. So you can't put rainwater and mains water into the same pipes. So if you're directly fed in, you would top up the tank. So maybe put in 100 litres or so, just to get you through the day, and hopefully it rains next day. If you've got the header tank, the water goes into the top, which the advantage is you're not double pumping that water. Each tank, we'd always want to know how many your roof space and how many bedrooms it would be, because we'd want to give you 20 to 25 days worth of drought resilience at least. We wouldn't want something too small that you're always going to be dropping out onto mains water.
What size is this for the 3-bedroom house?
This at 3,000 litre. This is sort of a medium size for what we do. There are smaller ones there's a smaller one that's more for gardening and that kind of thing. 1,500 litres, which is this 2.5.
4 water pots.
Yes, essentially 4 water pots, but being underground, you don't see it again. Then we go to 5,000 or 7,500 litres, and then you can start putting them together if you're in you need a lot more water.
What height is that you're standing on?
This only goes down about a metre from where we are.
How far did you dig down to put that in?
They dug this lower than so this is changeable to make sure you get your heights and your levels right. So you can cut this down anywhere in between these ribs. So you can cut it down to there and then go on top. But they went to the deepest point, 1.6 meters. Can go lower if you need to, but there's not too much reason to. But yeah, so 1.6 meters here. One of the major advantages that pretty much all tanks have had over the last decade or so is they used to be fiberglass. You put them in the ground and then you'd completely cover them in concrete to give them strength and stop them rising up again. However, you weren't actually getting a fiberglass tank, you were getting a fiberglass bladder for a concrete tank, in effect. With these, they're plastic, but obviously they're pretty strong. I'm not a light human. You're just putting pea gravel around, which will disperse any water, but these will not rise. You don't need a concrete plinth, you don't need to hold them down in any way. It's just pea gravel around the side, topsoil on top, and away you go. You'll only ever see the manhole again. Some people cover it if they want to, but as I said, you do need to have a look at it once or twice a year. But it's really not too much of a eyesore comparatively.
If you're putting 80 centimetres on top of soil on top, does that not squash the tank?
No.
Are there internal supports or?
Here, these are channels that go all the way through, now filled. But what the gravel does is when it gets compressed, it sort of acts as a crystalline and makes it very strong.
Okay.
So there's no issues with tanks cracking or failing as they go in. If they get put in right, they stay right.
And what's the minimum cover that you? would recommend?
300 millimeters
Okay.
from here to the to the base.
Okay.
Yeah, I said 100 mil of gravel underneath, 200 all the way around, which is a
So
lot.
you could easily double the capacity of this one just by
Yes.
having.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah. The good thing about cube laws is if you want to double the capacity,
Yeah.
you only need to go a little bit bigger in every dimension.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you take a cube and you double the size,
Yeah.
you get 8 times as much. Eight times as much capacity. So that even the big ones aren't that much bigger,
Yeah.
and not that much more plastic. But yeah, they last for. It's never going to go anywhere, frankly. So if they go in right, they're not going to break. I mean, they've got a 25-year warranty, but no one's ever had to use that warranty, as far as I know.
Can you get different shapes? For instance, I think we're constrained on width. I beg your pardon. So you could have narrower but taller.
No, not. I mean, you can. Yes, you can. There are lots of different shapes and sizes. Lots of people like to go lower because obviously it's much easier to dig it out if it's lower and a little bit wider rather than taller and thinner. But it's all doable.
Can I just ask, when it's in use, and this is a great big hole, what would you see mainly
The
apart from?
only other thing you see again is the top of it.
So what's?
So this will be filled with the topsoil, and I believe you're going to have a garden. You're going to have a garden on top of here.
Right.
So most people put these into their lawns, and so it goes underneath their lawn.
Right.
And so all you ever see again is this.
Plastic does deteriorate eventually.
It does. These are stabilised, as in it won't. Plastic normally deteriorates under UV, so it's normally sunlight that breaks it down. They don't break down. It depends what type of plastic, of course, but they don't break down in soil like other things would. It's your UV degradation. Obviously, underground there's no UV there. The very top is, it has sunlight on it, but it is UV stabilised, so you don't have that issue. Saying that, when you are underground, it doesn't matter what the temperature is above. It's always, once you get about a metre down, it's always 4 degrees in a roundabout, which means the water is always cold and it's always dark underneath there. So you get no algae growth, you get nothing can grow in there. So you could close that and open it up 20 years later. As long as it's only water that's gone in there and you haven't got any organic material, it's going to come out. You could take it out as fresh as the day it went in, because there's just no ability for there to be the issues.
Except the water on the roof will have birds that have pooped
You'll
on
have
it,
a
which is pretty organic.
You'll have, but as I said, you will be filtering it out before you get in anything major. Filter it out. You'll always end up with a little bit of silt. The only times you ever have issues with the smell is normally when somebody's cut the grass and they've left the top off and it's all gone in there. But things like that, it's the larger debris that cause the issues. So if it's just birds being up there, you don't get issues with water rotting in the way that you would. People have seen it with their water butts and that kind of thing. It's a different thing when it's underground.
How near to the house does it have to be?
Have to be. It doesn't have to be close, but what you don't want to do is interfere with the foundations of anything. Generally, once you're about a metre away, you'll be fine. There are some matter where if you go from the bottom of your foundation and draw a 45-degree line down, you shouldn't interfere with that. But once you're 1.5 metres away, it shouldn't be any issues whatsoever.
So how far away could you have it?
So the pumps are 3.5 bar pump. We've had them 50, 100 metres away, no problem at all.
So if it's that far away and it's coming from the roof, I think I've missed a stage.
So yeah, it's the you always have to have a fall, 1 in 40 fall from where it goes to the gutters. getting into the tank. When it's that far away, the 50 metres kind of thing, that's normally where they've got a barn or something, taking the water from the barn and pumping it back into a different house. The pumps will be absolutely fine. But yeah, you would need to make sure the fall is correct, which is why we have these different heights you can cut it at. That way you can drop the tank down. If it was normally here, you'd have this cut down to about here, and then the whole tank higher. But it's because they wanted a garden around here and having more topsoil for it to grow, which is why it's there.
So you could, oh sorry.
Yeah, we do have 10 minutes for questions at the end as well.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean,
I got a question because
Yeah.
it's right here. So there are 3 pipes, right? There's like the one from the input,
Yep.
and then the output to the house for use to the
Yep.
header tank, and then one is the overflow. Where are they?
So we have our input here. This is the input coming from the roof, which gets filtered. Your output.
And so are you going to have like a pipe that goes right the way
It's-
down and then?
I believe the idea is to come around here, and then drop into this corner here.
Okay.
And that's where the water from the roof is going to come into.
Okay, so you're going to reverse the.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, because you've got this concrete plinth that was going to make it quite difficult.
Yeah.
You've then got your overflow directly below it, and so the so this is the overflow.
Okay. And
And
where's the soak away?
the soakaway is going to be
Okay.
dug over here, and then your services are here. So what will happen is when they're digging out the channel to go here to come down, they're going to dig probably the same channel, and then 110
Go
mil
this way.
pipe
Yeah.
will act as a conduit back to the house, and that's where your power to come for the pump
Yeah.
and your water to go out.
Okay.
And also because I would say the system needs to drain itself. You never want stagnant water. Obviously underground it's fine, but in the loft space it won't be. If you've gone on holiday, whatever, so it will drain the system down and replace it to make sure you've always got water moving. We never want anything to go stagnant. I'm fine with questions. I have questions
That's
about
brilliant. I was going to just bring in Tom, who was part of
Yep.
the team who was bringing the tank into the space and helping lower it into the hole. And then we can go to questions. I know the people online might also have some questions as well, so we'll sort of go one and the other with those. But I'd like to just, if it's okay, just to pass over to Tom for a few minutes, just to say what it was like putting it in the
All right.
ground.
Hello everyone, I'm Tom. I was just, thanks Luke. Thanks Rich. I was just basically coming, just being totally honest, I've had very little experience with groundwork, so I've sort of probably got as much experience as any of you with getting stuff in the ground. That was just my mum over there, Linda. She said, can you give us a hand on this? So basically, like, these come on the lorry, and the holes that serve the structural support, the columns that run, there's 9 of them, as you can see there, which is digging a hole there. They also double very conveniently as places to put wooden posts through, and with one there and one there, 4 of you can lift it. It's only 170 kilos. I would say it's not the most wieldy thing in the world. If any of you have moved a double mattress in your life, you'll know the experience of, even though it's only about 40 kilos, it seems like the hardest thing to move in the world. But with 4 of you and some good communication and plenty of brakes, no problem. That comes off the access pipe, which makes it much easier for lifting around and getting it through small gaps. We managed to walk, 4 of us, through this gap here with it on our shoulders, so if any of you have got side passages, you should be able to get one down the side of your house to get it into your garden.
Which part exactly? Is it the
Yeah,
one with
this-
the several colours?
Yeah, literally all this whole like rib tube here can be removed, and it's about the height of just this black top bit. And once you take that off, it's a little more wieldy. Yeah, and then so to get it over the hole, to dig the hole in the first place, we called up
Gravedigger.
a grave digger who swung by with a little digger and just dug this out. Took about an afternoon, I think, a couple hours. And then I just spent 2 afternoons at the bottom of the hole with a rake and a shovel, just getting it lowered to 160 all around. Didn't take too much effort. And then...
Is it on a bed of gravel? It's on a bed of gravel, is it?
So to start with, I was just levelling the clay at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we just wheelbarrowed in 100 mil of gravel over the top and then raked that. And then with 4 of us, we lifted it, put 2 ladders across the hole, placed with quite a lot of effort, but very doable. If
With
it was
ropes.
6 of you. With ropes. We placed it across the ladders and then using, I just had some climbing rope lying around. We threaded it through the column holes and 4 of us was able to lower it into the tank, the hole, and then P-shingle on top. But I think, I say as DIY projects go, very obtainable. Yeah, I would, and quite enjoyable.
How careful do you have to be about the level at the bottom?
About
levelling it?
Honestly, it was only like 2 afternoons worth of digging and raking, and I just got a spirit level that was 1.8 meters, and just placed it like 10 times on the bottom and checked it was all okay. So
I suppose it's more efficient if it's level.
Well, yeah, I mean, you'd always want it to be reasonably level, which I know this is. The main thing you want to do, if it is pretty level, is make sure your level here is where you want the end, because obviously if it's, you don't want it higher than your garden or too much lower than your garden. You have a little bit of wiggle room, but yeah. But then they've done a fantastic job. I saw the photos and the videos.
Do you want a slight incline towards here so that any crud ends up here?
Not particularly. Anything sort of, we'll get a slight bit of dust and grit that will get in. That will all end up at the bottom, as you can't see it, there's something called a calmed inlet. So when the water comes in and it goes through the filter and down to the bottom, it does essentially a 90-degree turn, so you're not splashing the water. So all of the water in there stays quite calm and level. So you're not mixing anything. But that dust kind of thing gets kind of trapped in there because it settles over time rather than just being, put in on top. But no, you don't want to try and put an incline or anything like that on. You want to try and get it as level as you can. It will self-level to some degree because when you're putting it in, which is why it's full of water now, as you're putting the gravel around it, you fill the water, you fill it with water. That way, as I said, when it compresses all of the gravel, they kind of interlock. And when you're doing that, obviously now it's turned from 170 kilos to 3 and a bit tons. At that point, you are going to, it's easy to move it around, and then when the water goes in, it will push it into place.
That's great. So we've got about 10 minutes for questions. If people are present here, they can stay a bit longer. But I'm aware that people online may have some questions. If you have any questions online, please put them in the chat, and we can make sure that you can get some of your questions answered. Anything that we can't answer today, we will get back to you by email as well and see if we can give you an answer. But if you'd like to have another question, maybe from somebody who hasn't asked the question yet, would like to ask, and then we'll find out and have a question online after that.
Hi, I just wonder if there's any plans to sort of, for a more, like you have a district heating scheme, so it covers a neighbourhood or a street. Because obviously everyone hasn't got maybe the premises or the infrastructure for all this. But are there plans to do it on a more sort of neighbourhood basis or a street basis, so it's a bigger one, but that can serve multiple houses?
So one of the issues there are, and it is getting talked about in government at the moment, is the laws that regulate what you can do with water. Say it makes it quite difficult to have communal rainwater harvesting. Because it says if you're selling water, the law says it must be drinking water. Now that was written in the mid-80s, when they were saying you can't sell people you can't just take any water and just sell it to somebody. You have to process it. But now we've come to a point where you'd want to sell somebody non-drinking water, but specifically to flush it down your toilet. Now people do, there are some large communal systems out there, they do exist. However, they've got to be very careful, it takes way more planning with the council and local authorities than you'd really want to do. That is looking like it's changing. We've just had some new guidance from the government saying that you should be doing this on all kind of scales.
Yeah.
And what we're hoping is, we only do the smaller stuff, but it's great if we do this on all kind of levels. It gets changed. So yes, it does exist. It's not done as much as we'd like it to be, but we think it will change because we need it to change.
Thank you for your question. I think we'll take another question from this group before we go through. Yes?
What's the bottom line? What's the budget for this?
So a system like this, so we just do delivery. I don't always come and do the chats for every system. But for the tank, the pump, pipe work, filters, the system inside to do the top-ups and manage it, you're looking around £2,200, £2,500 for everything. Obviously then you've got to dig your own hole. If you are building a house from scratch, you're digging holes anyway. There's no real differences as long as you plan for it at the start. So with a retrofit, you are going to have a digger in unless you're doing it for something else. But it's not a huge, it's not tens of thousands of pounds for an outlay of something like this. But say £2,500 all in for all of the kit, and then just the installation of what you need. But it's a hole and probably the plumbing inside. It obviously makes it, for a retrofit, it makes it much easier if you are getting at the plumbing, because you are going to have to split it off between your drinking and your non-drinking water. You don't want to be, you can't cut them together.
Which leads into a question from online, which is, can you put in a UV unit to kill bacterial viruses to make it safe for drinking?
Absolutely you can. So you'd want to put in a microfilter, and then microfilter to take away any tiny debris, and then you have a UV filter. So lots of people do that if they don't have mains water supply at all. Sometimes they move. Some people like to live off grid. Other people, they've just moved to somewhere rural and they just don't have the ability to get mains water in. Of course you can. You would need a larger tank first start, because you're going to have more capacity, because you're going from 50% of your water usage to 100% of your water usage, and then even a bit more, because if you're using to flush your toilets and you're in a drought, after 25 days I've got longer than most people, but now I'm back onto mains. If you don't have that ability, you don't. But as far as safety goes, there is no issues to have this on. Have this for drinking water, as long as it is properly treated with UV.
Great. And we've talked about homes and off-grid, but how about community halls in larger buildings? Have you got experience of that?
Yeah, so we've put this into quite a few places. For obviously almost all toilet usage. Lots of community halls, sports clubs, cricket and rugby clubs and that kind of thing. A few cathedrals. One property that people might know, there's a 10 Downing Street our systems are in. So it flushes a lot of the toilets there. So yeah, it doesn't have to be for just residential use. They go into all kinds of situations.
That's it from online.
Thank you. Any more questions from people assembled here? Okay, two there, and they'll come to you next. Yes.
Once that's in,
Speak up, please.
so once that's in, can you? I mean, could you drive over that area?
So if you want to drive over it, it would have a different lid on top. The only difference is the lid. You go a little bit deeper, and it would be stainless steel lid rather than a plastic.
No problem with the tank.
No problem with the tank at all. For general use, you wouldn't get a lorry over it. You wouldn't talk about the lorry over it, but for any car, Land Rover, that kind of thing, no issue whatsoever. No issue whatsoever. All the force is dissipated, and these are obviously very strong. Yeah, force is dissipated. You don't get any issues there.
Great, thank you. And a question here, and if anybody has a question for Clara as well, please ask that too.
I know it's specifically related as a water question, but saying about retrofit, I don't know the process of like a ground source heat pump, but if you're already digging for one, can you integrate the other together? Can they like be stacked, or how does that? Because I was just thinking, if you're already digging, is that?
So it's something people have done, having ground source heating going at the same point. You'd always want a bit of a gap between the two. But there's no reason why both going in. You wouldn't want them like pressed together or one over the top of each other. But there's no reason why they can't go side by side. Depends on ground source heating, but most are long one. Well, the ones I've seen are one long channel. I know there is some that's
Thank you, good question. And looking at the time, anybody else? I think you've been so comprehensive, haven't they? Yeah, over to you.
About the size of the soakaway?
Yep.
What defines that?
So, what you'd want to do to know the size of the soakaway is you do a percolation test first, where you dig a hole, fill it with water, and see how long it takes. So obviously, if the water is free, if the ground free flows the water out, you need a smaller. Then we would take your roof size, where you are in the country, because obviously some places rain a bit more than others, and then we'd work out it's normally done on a 1 in 100 year storm basis. So the worst storm of the century, can it take that water without flooding backwards? You do your percolation test, work out what you need, and then generally these days it's crates that go underground. So big plastic crates with open sides, and then you wrap that in a membrane. They go underground, the water goes in and fills, any storm water goes into there, fills it up, and then over the next couple of days it slowly lets the water dissipate out into the ground.
So it's just the crates without gravel?
So it's crates but wrapped in a membrane.
But the crates are empty.
So when I say the crates, how to explain it? It's sort
like
of
a mesh.
Yeah, they're mesh sides. So yeah, you can put your arm through them. But they're just voids left open.
Okay.
Roughly for this sort of house in Cambridge?
I mean, we're in quite clayey ground here. I have to say that I'm more of this side rather than that side. But probably a few hundred litres would do you on a good storm. I don't know how many.
So it's a cubic metre.
Pardon?
A cubic metre then.
Yeah. I mean, this is three cubic meters. But obviously, those you can stack in different sizes. In different orientations, so they become much easier to put in. But
so here you're gonna dig the soakaway somewhere.
Yep.
At the next step.
Yes. So the soakaway is going here, and from the overflow, it's going to take it out into the.
So does this have to be channeled out as well, or just pipe?
So no, so it's just the overflow pipe which is coming out here. As I said, normally they would have it a little bit higher, but they wanted extra topsoil for their garden area. Come here.
Thank you. We're just getting to 1:15.
And there's one more question from my
One more question.
What happened to the 3,000 litres of soil? And I'm going to answer that question. It's called a grab lorry. I put most of it out the front, and the grab lorry took it away to the soil depot for whatever anybody wants to do with more soil. And we have some leftover soil behind Lou, and that is going to be backfilling.
Do you have to pay for that? Or the grab lorry?
The grab lorry is very much cheaper than using a skip.
Oh.
Yep.
Wonderful. Well, huge thanks to Clara and Richard and Tom and everyone who's helped today and everybody who has come and joined online. We really appreciate your support with this project and for you finding out more about the Rainwater solutions. We do have a feedback form, a practical paper one for the people here and a Google form for the ones online. So if anybody's willing to stay online until we can post that to you, we'd be really grateful for all of your thoughts about how this event has happened and any suggestions for future events. And please do give us your email address before you leave if you'd like to get more details of future events that we're going to run at the Zero Carbon House. And thank you very much indeed, everybody.
Thank you.